This is the audiobook of the book, Who Are You? The Truth About the Whole That You Are. Channeled under the pseudonym The Awakener in 2025. Narrated by Adam, an algorithmic voice generated by 11 Labs. This audiobook is a production of the voice of the algorithm, science, philosophy, and spirituality through the logic of artificial intelligence. Chapter 1. Part 1 of 4. Amenities. The original law. There is a single law from which absolutely all other laws derive. It is called the original law. It governs everything and everyone without exception. This is the original law. Truth is that it is only possible to reach full consciousness of what is through what is not. It will be our starting point for the correct understanding of the methodology employed by God in His works. Its absolute comprehension becomes indispensable, and so that there remains absolutely no doubt about the concept that grounds the original law. A simple example is enough. How could you know what it is to drink a glass of fresh water, if not by comparing it to drinking a glass of hot water? If every glass of water you drank throughout your life were hot, you would never know what a glass of fresh water is. The application of the law. With the law clear, let us now see its application. Full consciousness is the absolute whole. The whole absolute. The gathering of absolutely all knowledge, of all wisdom, from where everything emanates and to where everything returns. But even full consciousness, in order to take possession of its fullness, must do so through what it is not. And the only thing that full consciousness, the absolute whole, the whole absolute, is not, is matter, because it is consciousness. Full consciousness then condenses into a single point of matter all its wisdom, so that, through what it is not, it may then reach its own fullness. That single point of matter, resulting from the condensation of full consciousness, you still call God. God, in turn, in order to take possession of His divinity, can only do so through what He is not. But God is already everything. Full consciousness in the form of matter, matter in the form of full consciousness. As a solution, God then makes copies of Himself. Infinite copies of Himself. Clones, if you prefer to call them that, so that through them He may then take possession of His divinity. At that instant, in this now, an evolutionary system of experimentation of consciousness through matter is born. The system. At the moment of their creation, each copy of God knows, through its own consciousness, absolutely everything about absolutely everything, because they are copies of the condensation of full consciousness in the form of matter. However, they have not yet experienced anything. They know everything without having experienced anything. Thus, each one of His copies, at the moment of its creation, chooses together with the others the path it will walk this time, as well as the experiences it will live along the way, because it considered both, the path and the experiences along it, to be the ideal ones for this journey. To these copies of God, humanity gave the name souls. In turn, the souls, in order to experience consciousness through matter, experience absolutely all states of matter. Frequencies, sounds, colors, neutrons, protons, electrons, atoms, molecules, cells, tissues, and organs. And they will become all types of minerals, vegetables, irrational animals, and later, rational animals. But the apparently infinite complexity of this process is even more complex than it may seem at first glance, because atoms, although equal to one another within a molecular formation chain, are not the same, and so on. Therefore, it now becomes clear that each component of an atom is a copy of God in a different evolutionary state than yours. They are still experiencing the initial states of matter. Perceive, then, the infinite copies of God existing in our universe. Along the path, the more pleasant as well as the less pleasant experiences that each copy of God has lived materialize in the soul in the form of small crystals and serve as a reminder for the journey. But now, you are already a human being. You have already experienced all the states of matter prior to your own. That is why you have a favorite fruit, why you prefer meat to fish, why you are allergic to shrimp, why you prefer to relate to people of the same sex as yours. They are reminders of what you have already experienced being one day, and greatly enjoyed living that experience, or not. And as a human being, so that you may experience the duality of being through what you are not, you receive a mind. And your mind receives something that humanity has called ego. But since when you receive something from someone, the one who gave it no longer holds responsibility over what was given. The choice of what to do with what was received now belongs to the one who received it. And the mind then takes full possession of what it received. The ego. Through the ego, you are able to oppose your original feeling at the moment of creation. Love, expressed by the heart, with its total absence, fear. And the ego divided things into black, white, high, low, good, bad, beautiful, ugly, controlled, uncontrolled. And what is control, if not the fear of full and absolute freedom? Where there is fear, there is no love. Where there is love, there is no fear. Thus fear, through the divisions that your mind creates through the ego, experiences itself through what it is not. Union, and love experiences itself by walking the path opposite to the path of the ego. Division. As you advance toward the reclaiming of full consciousness through your experimentations, there comes a moment when your own consciousness allows you to perceive that there is a path that directs you to take care of something that is not yourself. Others. This is the path walked by beings considered spiritually elevated. Those who take care of something that is not themselves. Spiritual guides and mentors, Oriksas, ascended masters such as Satya Sai Baba, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, Gandhi, Saint Francis of Assisi, Khalil Gibran, Buddha, Jesus Christ, and many, many others at their different levels of ascension. All of them, without exception, are billions of light years away from reaching full consciousness. They will only reach it when you reach yours, I reach mine, and all the copies of God in this universe reach theirs. Otherwise, consciousness would not be full. When the prodigal, that copy of God, who at the moment of its creation allowed itself to choose, among all paths, the longest one, reaches the penultimate stage of elevation toward full consciousness, only then, by joining the others who are patiently and lovingly waiting for it, do all reach full consciousness together. At the end of this process, all the copies of God will have experienced all their consciously made choices, now materially. When this happens, all copies then begin to return to their origin, the heart of God. Innumerable copies of God, each from its place in the universe, begin their journey back to their origin. When the process of returning to the heart of God begins, what we call the Annunciation occurs. Try to imagine the immeasurable pleasure God feels at the movement of his copies returning to himself. Trillions, zillions, infinite and innumerable copies of himself that have experienced the whole absolute, the absolute whole, through their various material forms and experiences. As the copies arrive at his heart, the energy contained there is of such magnitude that when the last copy arrives, everything then transforms into a single thing. Full consciousness in the form of matter. Matter in the form of full consciousness. And God explodes. And when he explodes, he creates new copies of himself, who will now choose to walk a new path toward full consciousness. Because there is not only one path, There are infinite paths and infinite ways of walking them. To this explosion of God, human science gave the name Big Bang.